Hello, friends. A very warm welcome to yet another episode of the Pioneers of the Smart World with Lipika Sud. Our guest today is internationally acclaimed architect Hafeez Contractor. Hafeez Contractor needs no introduction. The New York Times describes him as the man who draws India. He has impacted the skyline of much of the built environment of metropolitan India with an unmistakable identifying stamp. Starting from working as an apprentice at his cousin's firm in Mumbai, he subsequently started his own practice in 1982. From 3 people, today his firm, Architect Hafeez Contractor, AHC, has over 550 team members. The firm has to its credit over 2,500 clients and 7.2 billion square foot of ongoing projects in 100 cities and 5 countries. Mumbai-based and born Hafeez Contractor completed his architectural studies from the Academy of Architecture in Mumbai and graduated from Columbia University in New York in 1977. He is the winner of over 75 national and international awards for excellence in contributions to architecture, including the Padma Bhushan in the year 2016. His work spans the gamut of possibilities of the constructed space: residential developments, hospitals, hotels, financial and educational institutions, commercial complexes, townships, airports, low-cost housing, and more. Some of the impressive works include the tallest structure on the subcontinent, the Imperial Towers, Mumbai, one of the tallest residential buildings in the world. 23 Marina, Dubai, has modernized the 2 busiest airports of the country, Mumbai and New Delhi, and one of the best cricket stadiums of the world, D.Y. Patil Stadium, Mumbai. He has also immensely contributed towards the Western Waterfront development, the slum rehabilitation scheme, which have created a huge social impact. Hafeez Contractor is a strong proponent of high-rise development and dreams of an India which will have a house for every Indian. A very warm welcome to you, Mr. Hafeez Contractor. When we talk about architecture in India, we talk about you. We talk about you in terms of actually as a person who has drawn India on paper. And, you have, to your credit, done some finest projects in India and across different continents. And how has it all happened, this journey? Did you plan to be a designer and architect since childhood, or architecture just happened and then you made it your forte?
I was, as a student, I was a very bad student. Never wanting to go to school. And since I was the only child, and I had lost my father before I was born, so my mother was forced to put me in a boarding school. And there in the boarding school, I was not a good student and I never wanted to study. So whole day keep on playing and this, that, and never studied. My favorite pastime was, I used to design bikes. I used to design, and I used to draw and say, oh, this will be like this, it will be firing like this, cars. And another thing that I used to keep on doing was designing dams. Fascination for dams.
Okay.
So when I was in the 3rd or 4th standard, in one of the English classes, my teacher was Mrs. Gupta, a Parsi lady married to Punjabi.
Okay.
maiden surname was Shirin something. So she saw me designing this bikes, and she started beating me and says, "You're a useless student. You don't study. You don't read anything, and you keep on drawing." So, and at that time, we used to get fantastic thrashing. So
Thrashing. Okay.
Yes. I used to get caning virtually every week, and if I never got caning in the week, I would say, "Oh, something is going wrong."
Okay.
So, but she said that, but remember one thing: when you grow up, become an architect. So I didn't know what architect was. So I kept on saying yes, and that was it. And and throughout my all the career and all that, I used to always design buildings also afterwards, and that is how I went through my studies. And whenever I used to answer any paper, I would select answers where I could draw figures. So I will draw figures and explain all my answers with the figure. So like science, geography, those were my subjects where I would score. But English, maths were the subjects where I would not score.
So you were born with that creativity. Oh my goodness.
So finally, when I got through my SSC, and that was 1 year where I took up books and started studying, to be very frank, because all these other years I was a junior champion for so many years, in sports. Studies were never on my.
Okay.
When the exams would come, this way or that way, I will do so many things, and somehow or the other pass.
Okay.
So finally, at SSC, I remember I got something like 45% or 40%.
Very encouraging for a lot of people who are very bad in studies to hear that. Yeah. So, love your honesty.
And I wanted to join architecture.
Okay.
At the time, because I had two cousins who were already architects, and I knew what was architecture. But then I was advised that it's a very, very expensive line, and my mother, who was a widow, will not be able to afford it. So finally, anyway, I went to JJ. They will not give me the form also, because they said, you're not eligible for the form. Okay. So I decided that I'll join the army. Okay. And I was a very good NCC student, and I got the letter back that I could come for that Khadakwasla, whatever it is. But my aunt tore off my letter and never told me.
Okay.
So I missed that. So I decided, I'll join the police force. So my mother requested, please finish your graduation, and then whatever you want to do, you do. So I, with a lot of influence, got into Jai Hind College, and there I had to take French as second language, and everyone, though I had studied French in my school, but I hardly knew 10 words of French, because you know how I used to pass. So finally, I had to take tuitions from my cousin's wife, who was a good French. She knew French very well. So I used to go to his office, because she used to help him. And he was an architect. So one day, both of them were not there, and I went to his office. And one of the architects was drawing a window detail. So And I was most interested in what he was drawing. So I went to his desk and saw it, and I said, "Oh, he was a Gujarati boy." So I asked him in Gujarati, and I said, "Oh, isn't this a window?" So he said, "Yes." So I said, "This window won't open." So he said, "How the hell do you know?" So I said, well, this has been my pastime and this has been my hobby. So he said, no, come on, you don't know anything. Okay. So we had a bet. So when my cousin came, I told him, so he said, how do you know? So, because window detail, nowadays, nobody draws a window detail, but those times, and so he said, okay, you draw. So I drew it, though my abbreviations were different, but my detail was right. So he says, your window detail is right.
Okay.
And then he says, how do you know? So I said, it has been my hobby. So he asked me, can you design a house? I used to design big forts with so many rooms, this, that.
Just so as fashion, just like that.
Yes. So he asked me to design a house with some 3 or 4 bedrooms and all that. So I designed it 2-3 minutes and gave it to him.
Wow.
So he was very happy. Then he drew an axonometric of that house, which at that time I never knew what is an axonometric. So I said, this is when you see from top. He said, yeah, can you draw it? I said, yeah, of course. So I drew it. So he told me, stop everything, join architecture today.
Wow, okay.
So I said, but Temas, Temas is my cousin's name, and he's still, he's virtually like my guru, and in fact, I used to stay at his house. So he asked this boy that, where did you study? So he told him that there is another college called Academy of Architecture. JJ was not the only college. So, but then Academy also won't give me a form because of my such low mass. So my another cousin, who is now in America and designs the most exclusive bungalows, houses, this cousin, Temas, talked to Dinyar, and Dinyar knew Mr. Dallas, who was the president of Indian Institute. And with Mr. Dallas's recommendation letter, I went to Academy of Architecture, met Mr. Vandrekar, who was the director. Okay. And Mr. Vandrekar saw the letter and he says, your marks are very poor. But since Mr. Dallas has given this letter, I will give you a chance of entering the entrance exam. If you do well in the entrance exam, I will take you. I entered the entrance exam and I got the A+.
Wow.
So he took me, and then as soon as I joined architecture, and they were teaching, I says, oh my God, this is called a plan, this is called a section, this is called an elevation, and this is sciography. I used to say, this is a shadow, this is sciography, this, that. And I used to stand last in the school, in my class, last or maybe second last or third last, okay? At academy and at architecture, I started standing first.
Wow, okay.
And very rarely I would be second. And with this, it was, for me, it was like a cakewalk. I used to love what I used to do. And simultaneously, it was a morning college. So I used to go to college around about 7:30. Finish college by about 9:30. And after 9:30, I would come to my cousin's office. And there I would work the whole day. I would work up to about 6:30 in the office. After 6:30, I would do all my homework and everything in the office.
Okay.
And catch the last bus and go home. my mother used to send me dabba twice a day, one in the afternoon and one in the night.
And where were you staying that time? How?
I used to stay, first I stayed with my cousin for so many years, about 2 or 3 years I stayed with my cousin.
Okay.
And then my mother came back from Navsari. So we used to stay at Goa at that time. And when I joined my cousin, he gave me the first salary was 30 rupees.
30. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay.
30 rupees. But he saw me how hard I used to work in the first month only. And I got an increment to 50 rupees.
Oh, goodness. But you were happy.
I was happy.
Oh.
I was like king. So, and I used to give my mother, at that time, I remember I used to give my mother 10 rupees for ghar kharcha. And rest of the thing, I used to finance my own education, little bit of clothes, this, that, whatever it is. And from 40 rupees, I was like a king. Okay. And it happened, it went on. And finally, as all my submissions and other things, the whole, I used to make models, I used to make drawings, like my drawings were 30 inches by 8 feet long. At that time, there were no...
Hand drawings?
Yes, hand drawings. Okay.
Oh,
and with God's good grace, I was so fast with my design that the day, like say, we used to have always two major problems in the class. That is, two major designs for six months. And then we used to get SKs for 3 days, 2 days and things like that. And I used to finalize my design in the first hour. And then I would make my drawings. Everybody else, other boys would make 10 drawings. I will make for my submission 100 drawings, 120 drawings. And my models were made. I used to make my models and get it in a truck.
In a truck?
I'm not joking.
My God, the physical models.
I beg your pardon?
The physical models that you made.
Yes.
You would carry them to you. Okay.
Yeah. So my college would give all the other students about, say, at that time we used to have 40, 50, 60 students. So all those 40, 50 students will display their work and their models in one classroom. I would be given another classroom.
Okay.
And with those big drawings of 8 feet long, and I used to mount them on ply because at that time there were no mount boards. So I used to mount them on ply, and my model will be kept in the middle, and that is how all my presentations were.
Clearly, you were the leader since the beginning. Clearly, I mean, the way you are leading now, you are kind of ruling the architecture world.
Yeah.
I think it has started very, very early. In fact, your team, they tell us that you have magic fingers. Everything that you do, even if it's a small project, very large project, you just sketch it out. How does it happen? I mean, is it just so many years of practice, something internal? Tell us a little more about it. God gift? Fabulous.
101%. There is nothing like it that, yes, it is a God's gift and there is no two ways about it. Finally, I was working in that office and I was very, very happy working in that office.
Okay.
And it was a very small office. So when my boss was not there, I was the boss. When the peon is not there, I was the peon.
Okay.
When the typist is not there, I would go down and get the letter typed. And it was a great, great place, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I learned everything because right from designing to how to talk to the client, to everything and everything I learned from that office. And I would say that a lot of things what happened in that office has been like, my foundation. And now that you're wearing this beautiful sari, I'm remembering of one incident which I'll never ever forget.
Please.
It was when I was in, I think I was in the second year. I did a course which was part-time, and it was for 7 years. Okay. So when I was in the second year, I remember there was a lady from Pune, and they called us up and said that we want to design a bungalow. And she came with her husband and the Sindhi lady, and we had designed a bungalow and showed it to her. And it was a nice, and I remember my boss had designed with a vaulted roof, like Le Corbusier. And and it was a very nice design. And she says, "Oh, Mr. Kharegar, but I don't like this design because, I would like, something." So Mr. Kharegar, also my boss and my cousin, said that, "Okay, we will do it like this, we'll make something, and let us meet next week." And she came the next week. Again, we had done a very nice design, and we showed it to her. And finally, she did not even like that.
Oh, okay.
So, but then, after some time, she took out a paper from a photograph of a house, and it was a house, must have been in some house and garden or something like that. Typical, feminine pitch roof, little stone, little flowers. I said, "Mr. Kharegar, I would like a house like that." And it was not a modern house, it was a very, very traditional and this, that. And my cousin was not happy with it, and he kept on looking, because my cousin is a very honest man, let me be very frank.
Nice.
If he felt something, I would say that he is not like me, because I would suddenly change and I would say, "Okay, I'll do it like this."
Okay.
But not that I'm dishonest.
But you're flexible, you're adaptable.
Correct.
Okay.
So, long and short of it, that lady left unhappy that we were not able to satisfy her. So once she left, I told Temas, I said, "Temas, why can we not do that? If she wants that." But Temas told me, "You're a foolish fellow. You're not an architect. You'll never, and he fired me.
Okay.
But that kept on in my mind, that here is a person who wants this. And here is my boss and my cousin, who was my guru. And he says that you have to do like this." But at that time, I thought that, oh, this was the right way, this was the right way. But that was in my mind, that why as an architect, we are wanting to give something to a person, okay, which we like. Yes, as an architect, I also like those designs were very good. I also like that. But she didn't like it, and she was my client. Now that has been my foundation.
Okay.
I learned a lot from that small office of mine, okay, my cousin's office. I learned everything, okay. But this also, I learned from there only. That here is a person, okay, who wants this. And here is me as an architect who knows about building, who knows about construction. I'm giving her something that she doesn't want. It's like, a person going to a restaurant and saying that, "Oh, I would like to have, or let's say, I'm a vegetarian." And that fellow says, "No, I would like you to eat non-veg." Or if she says, I don't like spicy food, he says, no, तो spicy food ही बनाता हूँ. So what will you do? You say, okay, thank you, bye-bye, and you'll get up.
Right.
So this has been the starting point. And finally, I was very, very happy working there. I worked there for nearly, I would say, 7, 8, 9, or 10 or 11 years I worked there. And but it was a superb place to work.
Tell me something. Sorry, I'm interrupting here.
No, tell me.
Besides, learning the fact that, you have to be adaptive to the client, you have to cater to their needs and their choices. What are the other things that you learned? Because, I feel understanding managing finances, understanding how to deal with clients or customers, interpersonal relationships, communication, so many other things I feel, our design schools don't teach. They are missing. But in your case, you seem to have just mastered it. Your clients swear by you, the way you are willing to quickly change drawings, the way you understand the project. Tell us a little more about what did you learn in this office and how is it today impacting you with your success story?
Okay, I remember finally after my 50 rupees salary, after some time, I got 100, 150. Then finally, I remember by the time I was in 6th year or 7th year, I was earning about 1,500. And the first thing that they must always taught me is pay your taxes honestly. Okay. Second thing, I learned a lot from him, but these are few things that I'll never forget. He used to be he taught us to be proper, but no unnecessary expenses. And that has taught me that, how to be with minimum expense, how to do the work. In fact, at that time, how from a presentation drawings, we used to convert them into center line drawings, and from center line drawings, same drawing, we used to convert it into construction and working drawing.
Okay.
Now, mind you, today I don't think it is possible, but in a matter of one day, we used to finish everything. So,
goodness, in one day you would go through the entire process.
Forget one day. You design. I'll come to that stories a little bit later.
Okay.
So another thing that I learned over there, we used to have 1 or 2 clients at that time, and times were quite different. If we made a building which is about say 10,000 square feet or 15,000 square feet a year, it was a great year.
Okay.
And if any client came, he will be talking to that client, and I'll be standing behind him, and I'll be looking at that client. And so, how to talk to the client, what to talk, how not to talk, And so I learned all of that from him.
Okay.
And this is where, I got my confidence. And by the time I was in my 4th year, okay, I used to have clients because I used to come to office by 6:37 in the morning.
Okay.
Because once my initial design is ready in the class and I show it to the class teacher, then I'll sit at office and make my drawings. And I'll be leaving by about 12 o'clock in the night. Okay. So a lot of times clients would call me up in the evening or 4 o'clock and say, Hafeez, I hope you're not going home today. Okay. He would come with a drawing of a new plot. Okay. He will come at 6:30. By the time my cousin would have left, and he will say, I want the submission drawings by 3 o'clock in the night. I will design the building, make the submission drawings, and submit the drawings by and he'll make his peon wait outside. Okay, he will get my dinner, he'll get me tea, he will get. And that time there was only one Xerox and this blueprint shop which will be open 24 hours, and that was Date at Prabha Devi. He will get those drawings.
Okay.
And the only condition was that that guy will get the permission approval by next day 3 o'clock in the evening.
Okay.
So that is how, how fast I was at my work.
So speed has been your real mantra. I think that's the secret. Because
Yes.
How have you managed to get, big developers, the Hiranandanis and so many others? They swear by the way you work and your design ethics and the speed at which you change things and, adapt. Tell us a little more about this. How does it all happen like this?
Okay. See, you want to know how I started my practice?
Yes, very much. I mean, come on, you're such a brilliant star in the company where you were turning out drawings, and then there you are with your own setup. How did it all start?
Okay, so now I was working at Kharegar, and one fine day, one of my engineers, that is Kamal Hatkar, called me up and said, "Hey, Hafeez, there is a new builder in town, and he's got a very nice plot. But the guy who has designed it, he's not designed it very well. So I'm telling him, why don't you go and meet him?" So I remember it was Friday. I had an appointment and I went to that site to meet him. When I went on the site, I could see the site was sloping, and I just saw the drawings, what that other architect had done it. And when he came, so I told him that, okay, first of all, I'll make a nice design for you, but I'll increase your profit by, I don't remember, it was 60 lakhs or something like that.
Okay.
60 or 50 lakhs. So he says, "Oh, how can you do it?" I said, I'll do it. And but he said, "I don't have time." So I said, "See, today is Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. I'm sure you're not going to." So he said, "Oh, I can wait for the new design right up to Monday. You come and show me the design on Monday at 3 o'clock. And he gave me an appointment in his office, or in his solicitor's office. So with that plan, I ran to my office and I told my cousin, "Hey, we got a new job." My cousin was not really interested. He said, "This fellow is..." So I I reached office by about 12 o'clock or so. I started designing. I sat for Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night.
Okay.
Because I had to design the building. At that time, there were no computers. I had to draw the perspective. I drew the perspective, everything. On Monday, at about 10:30, I sent all the drawings for getting the prints. I went home for a bath and to sleep. And I told my mother, "Wake me up at about 1 o'clock. I had my lunch. And I went and showed at 3 o'clock at Mr. Gilani's office. The presentation was done and we got the job."
Wow, fantastic.
That was the first job that I got on my own.
Okay.
Finally, we got the job. I used to go on the site and it was nice and everything was nice. And one day I had gone to check the slab on top, and before going up, the client asked me, the client's name was Mr. Om Prakash Nawani, and he's still there. He's a very good friend of mine.
Oh.
He asked me that, oh, what would you like to have the columns in? So I said, oh, we should have black granite. And he said, oh, very good, very good. And I went up. I never knew that my cousin is going to come. And he came and he asked him. My cousin told him, grey granite.
Okay.
So by the time I came, Mr. Om Prakash told me, oh, Hafeez, Mr. Kharegar is saying grey and you are saying black. I said, it's okay, do grey. To that he said, no, I'll do black. And the whole difference came. My cousin didn't like it and he said, oh, and so we started. We had a different opinion.
What happened? Finally, what was put? Black or grey?
Finally, black was put.
Okay.
But because of black and grey, I decided to leave the office.
Okay.
Now, and I said that, okay, I'll take 6 months to settle up all my things, this, that. I had only one job which I had just got it, which was interior of Bharat Petroleum's office. And it was a 50,000 square feet office. And my lump sum fees were 50,000 or God knows what, something. So I had just one job at that time. And I thought, and I think I had some 40,000 in my bank account. And I thought that, oh, I'll get a nice big office in 30,000 or whatever it is. Started looking for an office, and in 30,000 I was getting something underneath just the staircase where I cannot put more than one drawing board. I was very disappointed. One day I'm just sitting down on my desk and a guy comes and pats me at the back and he said, hey, you want an office, no? I said, yeah, I want an office. He says, chalo, mere saath chalo. I said, kidhar? Chalo. So we went just about 500 meters away from my old office. He showed me a building. The whole building, all windows were broken, birds were flying in and out, grass was growing. Mm-hmm. And we went on the first floor and he says, jitna mangta hai utna le lo.
How come?
And the whole place was full of tires, bird shit, everything. Okay, so finally I got my office. And that's, I started with 2 windows. And today, with God's good grace, we are about more than 500, 600 people. I don't know how many. And we kept on buying. And we have been very lucky.
So you have trained more architects in your office than a lot of design and architecture schools have. And you have an army of...
No, but one second. One very important point that I would like to tell you is that we employ, for professional practice, boys and girls. And at any given time, we have more than 60 to 80 interns in our office, and we pay them salary also. Mm-hmm. And they, I'm sure, everyone when they're leaving, or maybe after 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, they are a different people, and they say they have learned a lot. So, in fact, we are running an architectural college also, because at any given time, I have more than 60 to 70 students working in my office.
And do they move out, or do you hire some of them also? How do you identify the bright sparks amongst them? No. See, one thing is that to run an office, I always say, nowadays we take an interview and this and that. When I used to employ, I would employ everyone. You come and when I say, you want to work? And if he says yes, and I say, you'll work hard. If he says yes, I take it. If he says, I want a holiday on this and this, I say, no, please go. Because I have one philosophy
that to run an organization, I need a racehorse and I need a gadda also to carry the load.
Okay.
You have to identify everyone has got something in him that he will do it well. And you exploit that and make use of that, and you can run an office. So today, all the students who come to us, I tell them, take as many students as you can. And they work in a group. Our office works in a group. So, and if they like, after they've finished, they come to work in our office.
Have you realized that some of them have probably taken architecture for different reasons, not because of that kind of passion that is required to be a good architect? What do you have to suggest for those people who have just taken it because maybe it's more fashionable now, or they think they can make a lot of money out of this profession? What is your suggestion to them?
I used to teach at academy. Okay. After passing out, I used to teach at academy. And by the time, when we are teaching and when I tell a person, do like this, or design like that. And then the guy would say, how do I design? I said that you have to imagine. And finally, if I find out that he has got no imagination, he's a very good student. He's got fantastic marks in his, SSC and all those kind of things. But he's got no imagination. Then I would really advise him that, see, you're not cut out for architecture. You can join this or join that. And to my great surprise, every year, out of a batch of 10 or 15, because it's better to advise a student that you're not cut out for this, because architecture is something which you can't study and acquire. And one fine day I found that virtually everyone, the whole batch of mine was like that. So I thought that it's time for me to leave. So I left. No, and what I'm trying to get, a lot of students, they apply to become a doctor, then they apply to go to engineering, they don't get there, then they come into architecture, and that is not correct.
Because their heart is not there.
Correct. That's why a lot of times I tell, and I told a lot of senior architects also, that the way we select architects in our college is wrong. Because an interior designer in my office, he's more creative. Not that, he's more creative than all the architects, okay? But on an average, he's more creative. Because he's creative, he wants to become an architect. He's not getting admission into architecture. And he was not lucky to have Mr. Dallas to give him a letter of recommendation like me.
Right. So true. So you can completely identify from that perspective that the creativity is there, but our system is such that unless and until you get good marks, you don't get architecture. And if you get architecture and your heart is not there, it's a vicious circle, and therefore you are a failure. So true. Don't you think they should also consider doing something else in that case if their heart is not on the subject that they are trying to pursue as a career?
If your heart is not there, in that what you're pursuing, I don't think you'll ever be successful. And if your heart is there in what you're pursuing, okay, you'll always be successful because you're putting in that much of time. You're doing it with so much of passion. Okay. Today also, I go to office. I work right up to 8:30 in the evening because I'm not working. It's like if you're an accountant, you come home. Then you start reading, then you listen to music, that's your hobby, and that's how you relax. But me, when I'm designing and I'm solving a problem, that is my relaxation. So that you go to play golf to relax, I go to my office to relax.
You're playing golf all day long.
Yes.
Having fun. How wonderful. I hope and wish everybody could lead a life like that. Find their ikigai, their passion, that sweet spot which you have found so early in life. And here I'm going to ask you something. You have quoted that architecture should be honest. and must respond to the spirit of the time, characterized by distinct ideas, disparate missions, contrasting convictions, and divergent preferences. This is your belief, right? That has made it so, as you strongly on the lines of this belief advocate vertical growth of cities. Tell us more about it.
See, first of all, before we go to vertical growth of cities, I would like to mention, what we did for Hiranandani's, what we did for. Okay, let's first talk about vertical growth. Why a vertical growth? When I was in college, I used to always tell each and every friend of mine that, I'll be the first architect to make a 100-story building in India. At that time, to make a 100-story building was like glamour and glorification, and it was the pride. But if you go as the years passed by, what is happening in the world? Climate change, global warming, deforestation, population bursting of population. In India also, population bursting, migration from agricultural and rural society to urban society. Now, if you look at all of that and then look at the statistics, if you look at statistics, farmland, forest land is getting depleted. Cities are increasing.
Yeah.
And in India, our urban area cover is more than most of the other countries. Other countries, the urban areas are 3% and 4%. In India, it is going, different websites say, they say 7, 8, 10, 11.
Okay.
Now, if that is the way, because we are a big population, and if our urban areas are going to take up that much of area, and where is it getting depleted from? It is getting depleted from the farmland, and farmland is sponging on the forest land. And if our forests are going down, if our wet areas are going down, if our farm areas are going down, and our urban areas are going to go up, that's not a healthy sign. But you have to give housing to all your people. Now, considering all that, and from another side, since for so many years, India has never looked at urban areas as, we were always looking at rural areas because that was, where the maximum population was. But since urban policies were not formed properly, urban FSIs were not on parity with your population, we started getting so much of slum area. So today in Mumbai, more than 30 to 40% of our land is in slum. More than 50% of our people are living in slums. And the projection is that in the next 10 years, in all the urban areas, more than 50% of the people will live in slums. Okay. Now, if you are living in slums, I don't know whether you ever visited a slum.
Oh yes, in Mumbai particularly, yes.
Yeah. So slums, you don't have proper toilets, you don't have proper water supply, you don't have proper drainage. So if you are living in slum, you are not really a productive person. So if half your population, or say half your urban population is living in slum and they are not productive, how can our country progress? So that is one part of the problem. And why am I saying that we should go vertical is, I am saying, please do not keep on expanding your cities. Take your original footprint, redevelop, go vertical, and house everyone. Look at Ahmedabad, look at Pune, look at Mumbai, look at Delhi. Every city is just expanding, expanding, and expanding. And what are we doing? We are gobbling the farmland. So, if we are gobbling the farmland, and our population is increasing, and we are just going low height, it's a biggest crime. You have to have our cities which are dense, dense, with higher FSI. So your infrastructure, everything is taken care of properly. And you leave your farmland and you leave your forest land intact. In fact, you have to increase your forest cover. That is what you have, in fact, promised the Paris Accord also. From 27%, you are supposed to get it to some 30 or 37%. Okay. So what are we doing about that? And if each and every country is not looking like that, and we say, no, if others will do it, others will do it, we are at a loose end. And I don't think we will be leaving this earth in a proper condition for our future generations. And that's not a good thing to do.
That's a beautiful thought and beautifully explained. I must say, it's very important for us to take the responsibility of clearing so much mess that has been created so that the next generations have something more beautiful to look at and live in. At the same point, I must talk about this dream that you have, the dream of a home, a house for every Indian. You have talked about this dream on a lot of platforms.
Yes.
Tell me more about this dream.
Okay. See, if you look at when we are talking about that today, 70% are living in, say, rural area, and in the next so many years, that 70% is going to get into the urban areas. Okay? Now, who are these people who are coming to these urban areas? I would say more than 75% of those people are not educated. Some of them are lucky they are educated, okay? But 60% or whatever it is, they come, they get some job in a restaurant, they get some job here or there. Somebody becomes a peon, somebody becomes a driver, whatever it is. And average earning of theirs is 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. Now, when a guy is earning 10, 15 and 20, how much can he spend in a house? How much can he spend in a house? As far as I'm concerned, a fellow cannot spend more than 10 lakhs or 11 lakhs on a house. We have to create a scheme whereby we can give housing to all our masses in urban areas for 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs, 10 lakhs. Now that's the whole idea. And you can do that. You can do that.
How?
Now you'll say, how? Now you want me to give out my secret.
No, I'm willing to participate in your, movement. It's going to be like a movement. It's not like something that you just say and, it has to be workable. But if you can share some guidelines, some vision, so that at least people like us would wonder and probably want to participate in this whole endeavor of yours.
Okay. Now, look at any map of, say, any city. Identify how much of that city is covered in slums, how much of the city is covered in government land, large institutional land. What I feel that we have given so much of land and we are leaving it unutilized. Mm-hmm. Okay? So from one side, it's the government land, large institutional land, which they are not able to utilize for years and years and years. For the last 20-25 years, I have been observing in Mumbai and some places in Delhi. They're just lying like that. From another side, shanties and old housing, which is dilapidated, slum housing which is taking place, okay, how much of land they are occupying. They are occupying. So I would say that in a city, if a slum is occupying, say 10 acres, I'm just giving you. Mm-hmm. Now that 10 acres, I can easily accommodate on a government land or on some institutional land which is not being used for years and years, okay, in only 2 acres, 2.5 acres. Just here, yes. 10 acres can be accommodated in 2.5 acres. Yes. Now, you will say, from where will you get money to make that housing over there? Banks are giving loans to everyone. Okay, they're giving loans and not getting it then to NPA and this and that and that. Here, the government does it. Or so that 10 acres will get vacated on 2.5 acres. Right. Guys will get housing at cost of construction only. Now, if you are going to do this, you are doing it for the country. So do not say, oh, you pay this tax and that tax and that tax. Please don't charge the taxes today. They are on the street. They are sleeping on the street. House them. You can give them on rent, and in 20 years, 25 years, in amortization, they will pay back the money to the bank or any institute who has financed them. Perfect. Okay? Yes, yes. Now you will say that where will that 2 acres which I have taken from that government land or an institutional land, where will they go? I have vacated 10 acres. So instead of 2.5 acres, I will say, chalo, I am giving you 3 acres after 2 years or 2.5 years. So that is one way of doing it. Now you will say that, oh, the guy who has financed that housing, he needs money immediately. So I vacated 10 acres, gave 2.5 to 3 acres to that government. Right. Rest of the land, I can sell part of it and recoup the cost and give it back to that bank or an institute. Now, mind you, you are talking about not only slums and housing for today. By this, you will house the people who are living in slums today. But in the next 10 years, 70% of the people from rural are going to come to the city. So what about the next lot? Now that remaining land from the 10 acres, 3 acres given to the government. Another say 3 acres is given to the other guy, sell it and get it. Or he can give it on rent, the housing. Don't even charge 10 lakhs, give it on rent. And in amortization, you recover the cost in 20-25 years. Okay. The remaining land, you do social housing. Okay. The same principle, what you did where you took the government land, now you have land ready. So you have another 3.5 acres where I can do, and I can do future housing also, which I can give it on rent. But madam, this idea, nobody wants to adopt it. Why? Is there a lack of political will? What is the idea? I have presented this idea to a lot of high institutes or high government authorities in the center. They say, it is the state government's prerogative. Housing is a state government. I am saying, this is not housing. This is a need of the nation. If our beloved Prime Minister wants our economy to be, say, so many trillions, unless and until we have all our population working, producing, then only you can have it. Mind you, when I am doing this kind of a housing, I am also creating employment generation buildings in those housing.
Absolutely.
So say I'm having housing of say 20,000 houses. In that area, I'll be having school, I'll be having shopping, I'll be having a hospital, okay, I'll be having a clubhouse, and I'll be having an employment generation building. What is an employment generation building? Today we are not competitive in the world as far as garments are concerned, as far as food processing is concerned. Because why? Because we cannot have our real estate. Real estate has gone so expensive that when the guy takes up that and he has to put up a garment factory, he has to think about the rent. But I'm giving this employment generation building free to that guy and says, okay, employ these slum guys who have come. So that ladies can cook for half a day or 1 or 2 hours, come work in those factories, go back. They can just walk. So how much production we'll be doing? We can be doing electronics, assembly factories, so many things.
Absolutely.
This can change our country. This can change our country because not only this, just imagine the amount of money that will be plowed into real estate, the amount of money that will be in real estate, cement, the whole industry will employ, the economy of the country will improve by so much.
Totally, it's a ripple effect. But it's people like you, architects like you with a vision. They have to come into the main frame of, decision taking when it comes to, the nation building. You are in the peripheral. Why are people with your stature not in the main, thought process of the economic growth?
I'll tell you, we have been talking about redeveloping Dharavi for so many years. And every time they take out a tender and it comes out that the thing will go in a loss. We have worked out a scheme for Dharavi by which they will go in a profit of 1,30,000 crores. We worked out a scheme for BDD Chaul, which was stuck up for so many years. We made it work and we showed it to them that you could do it economically and faster. People should adopt the ideas because it's just not the ideas. There are other things. And I feel that to me, and the biggest infrastructure for our country is housing. If housing you consider and housing you take care, then our country will be a 5 trillion economy.
Fabulous.
But if you do not consider and if you do not take care of housing, then it will not be. And you have to give houses at 10 lakhs or on rent.
I salute you for that thought, but there will be challenges. There are going to be challenges to be able to achieve this dream. But it can happen the way you have explained it. It's just about getting the right minds and the right attitudes and the people together. It's some...
My dear, you just take out a Google map, okay? Just one government organization, railways. How much land in each and every city they have and which they are not utilizing. And where they are utilizing, they have government colonies, 2 stories, 3 stories. Just take that railway land only, and if you were, and they are next to the railway station, they have water, they have electricity, they have everything. And if you make housing over there, dense housing, 30 story, 40 stories, okay? Take off all that old colony, which they already want to develop. Only railway land, you will be getting more than 10 to 15 million houses.
Absolutely.
and they will be all, at the right place.
Absolutely.
Take railway land, take portress land. Portress land also, ports are getting different. Portress land. So these are the things which you can do it.
I'm sure it just requires, a collective voice, like-minded people coming together. Of course, a lot of political will. And I'm sure in times to come, let us hope that this dream is fulfilled and is realized. But it's a beautiful, beautiful way you put things. And I salute you for that.
I hope Mr. Modi will watch your interview and
I'm so enjoying this conversation. I love the passion with which you talk. My goodness, it's not just about your work. I think it's that level of commitment that's coming out from your heart. It's so evident.
No, I'll tell you now what I'm talking to you. We have worked out plans, taking this is not just a theoretical conversation. We have worked out plans. We have taken plans of the slum. We have taken plans of government land, which is adjacent. How all of them will be housed. How they will have much better gardens, much better areas to go, a better school, solar power. Everything is worked out, and then I'm telling you these facts and figures.
Yeah.
The only thing, we have certain antiquated laws. You have to change them.
Yeah.
If you change them, even if you don't change them, and somebody has to be willing to do it.
There you go. Yes.
I'll tell you, you must not be knowing about slum redevelopment scheme in Mumbai. The slum redevelopment scheme in Mumbai, when Mr. Balasaheb Thackeray was in command. This is when BJP and Shiv Sena were ruling together. And I went to the housing minister at that time and I said, sir, I have an idea by which you can eradicate slums and gives free housing to the slums.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me how. We had studied everything and we presented it. We presented it to Mr. Balasaheb Thackeray, Mr. Suresh Dada Jain and all of. Everyone said, Balasaheb, nako kara. He was the only guy, he says, Mala karaicha hai. And that's how lakhs and lakhs of people today of the slum redevelopment guys or slum guys have got housing. Now, I would like to tell you a story of two ladies. The first opening ceremony we were doing for the slum redevelopment housing scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray also was there. I was there and my client was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big occasion. Those Maharashtrian ladies had come all beautifully dressed in their 7 yards or 9 yards sari with their jewelry in the hair and everything. And they took Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, my client, and me near the Ganpati Ji's Mandir in the slum. And they made a stand there. So I was very happy. So one of the Maharashtrian guy is telling me in my ears, they said, "ये जानते हो ये लोग क्या करते हैं?" So I said, नहीं बोलो, ये आप लोग की आरती लेते हैं. So I said, हाँ लेने दो. तो he said, नहीं, हम लोग की औरत लोग सबकी आरती नहीं लेती है, खाली खुदा की लेती है और अपने पति की लेती है. So then I'm looking at that lady and I'm saying, why are you taking our aarti or my aarti? So that lady told us, do you know you have changed our life. I said, what? He says, today we cannot go to toilet after sunrise, and we cannot go to toilet before sunset. Can you imagine? Because the toilets were open.
Okay.
You're half broken. Mm-hmm. Just imagine you want to go to toilet and you cannot go to toilet after the sunrise because it's light and everybody sees you.
Yes.
And that opened my mind and I said, my God, here you want to, I just wanted to go to pee. And I said, please excuse me, I'm going and coming.
Yes.
Okay. Just imagine this.
That's life, that's reality, that's the ground reality of India. And if we can change that, which you have done, it is just such an amazing...
Madam, just pray to God that Mr. Modi sees this interview, he calls me and I will give him the ideas. And if we can eradicate and give houses to each and every youth, in the next 5 years, India will be a different country.
My goodness.
And it will be a much more cleaner, much more healthier. What we are talking about, that, we should get 100 gold medals in the Olympics. It will be possible because small kids, from the time they are 3 and 4 and 5, they will go to the gym, they will swim, they will run, they will, everyone will have an access. Why America can get so many gold medals? Because they have an access to all these facilities. It's not that we cannot. We don't have an access. The first time I put my foot in a swimming pool, I was 21 years old. So
things have to change. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a beautiful thought, lovely vision. And I think we have to collectively come about and take it to the next level. It is possible. It can be realized. It's just a matter of making the right people understand and the bylaws changed or, to the changing times. We have to, as they say, change is the only constant. And that is what is going to create an environment where all of us collectively can actually touch people's lives. It's really a beautiful thought. A dream that has to go beyond paperwork. A dream that has to be understood and realized by people who can take that decision and be able to transform that dream into reality. And I really, really wish you all the best on that.
It'll happen. It'll happen. Don't worry. It'll happen.
I'm so happy.
It'll happen.
I'm so hopeful, and I hope I'm going to be part of that journey in whichever way you think I can contribute or be associated. We'll be happy to do so. So it has affected a lot of people, and in different ways. Some people have completely broken down, and others have found new avenues. They are learning new things, and they have also had more time to reflect. We've all had time to reflect because we are also at home. What has your experience been with and your personal life and this work life?
I feel that it's something by which the whole world should understand. First of all, why it took place and what kind of a disease that kind of a thing is. And if you really go in depth, it is because of the environment. It is because it is, global warming, amount of fossil fuel that is being burned, deforestation, excessive use of materials, and everybody thinks that there is no end to whatever they are doing. There is no end to wastage. Nobody is bothered. Every fashion house, every summer fashion, winter fashion, okay, and it's like new
excessive, too much of everything.
Yes, okay. What it finally leads to, our resources are getting depleted. So, should we do it like that, or we should start thinking and restrict our usage of resources? And if we do not do that, and if we do not get up from that slumber, we are at a stage that, it's like we are on a hill and we are sitting in a small cart. It is just like, you may just topple and just go down the hill, or you can stay on top. And ours is the last generation who can stop that cart moving down the hill. Because if we do not do anything, and if we do not change our ways of doing things and restrict the global warming to that 1 degree or lesser than that, then we have some future in sight. Now, how can we do it? I, as an architect, I said, I must have my contribution. So I started studying all my plans. And I said that, now in this plan, by doing this, I am making so many houses. Then I started calculating how much is the quantity of that. That, in that kind of a house, how much concrete I am using, how much brick I am using, or how much other things I am using. And say, to make 1 lakh houses, or say 100 houses, I was using, say, so many 1,000 cubic meters of concrete. Now, as an architect, if I can make it in, say, 75% of that concrete, give the same number of houses, but use less material. Okay?
Yes.
Now, if I'm using less material, that material, 25% of material, somebody else can use. So, how to use judicious way of materials?
Okay.
And also economic. Today, I am using so much of steel. By my new way, and which we call it the zero waste architecture, I will use so many kilos of steel less. I will use so many kilos of cement less. So many kilos of sand less. And give you more efficient houses and the same size of house. So that is what is our contribution.
Fabulous. So this is a new learning. Sorry to interrupt you here, but is this something that has occurred more because of the pandemic and because it has you started reflecting on this? And is this the message you're trying to say, that every designer, every architect should start looking at how to cut costs and not add to the carbon footprint, because infrastructure industry adds maximum of the carbon footprint in the country. We are polluting it.
Correct. So this is what we studied. I modified my own plans and I started a new wave. And now whatever we are doing it with those principles. So if some other architect is giving you 100 flats, I will be able to give you 110. In that same area, in the same quantity. So that is an economic way, a better way. So not only you're doing it cheaper, you're housing more people. So you're saving resources.
Right. Fantastic.
You're saving materials.
Yes.
So that is our contribution. And I say that each and every one, if they apply their mind, they will be able to do it. Then, what you're talking about as an interior designer, I had once, I was giving a talk to some people, and I'm saying, why are we looking at marble? Why are we looking at tiles? Why I should have so many doors? Okay. So I said that, if some beautiful actress comes and says, I don't have any doors in my house. Everyone will say, I don't want to have any doors in my house. If, say, I'm just taking a name, I hope he doesn't mind it. If Shah Rukh Khan comes and says, my walls are bare concrete, and that's the arty way of doing things, I'm sure everyone will start having a bare concrete. Okay, so we'll save plaster, you'll save paint. Not that I'm against the industries of plaster and paint. What I'm trying to say, less and less. And with that, you can live. So if you save on all of that, how much of materials you'll save? Because unless and until you save on materials, the future is very, very bleak. We have been deforesting because everything on wood, everything on this, that. Somewhere I had read that in the next 30, 40 years, India won't have any mines by which we'll be able to produce cement. Where will we go? You have to think about new materials. You have to think, and I am a big proponent of glass. And I would say glass, steel. These are materials by which you could do much more lighter buildings, much more taller buildings. We have to think about carbon concrete, because all along we are just thinking ordinary concrete. Now carbon concrete, we can go much, much more higher. Today we are 7 billion people. When we go to 13 billion, and which is going to happen in some few years.
Oh my God, yes.
Where will we go?
Yes.
Where will we go? Achha. Where will we produce our food? Earth is not going to increase. Okay. And if we say, we are going to cut all the forests and make farmland, that is not going to be worthwhile. Okay. So we have to think that we have to start thinking of living in the sky. I'm saying living in the sky, but go higher. Because we were looking at, since I'm always on this, economic housing and how to do this. I thought the idea of how to make a house which will be in the air and which can float like a balloon. And mind you might find that I'm crazy, but we started talking to several, chemists and all of them, which gas can hold it. But we found that, nothing was possible. And if it was possible also, fire would not allow it. So what I'm trying to say
No, something might come up like that. Edison failed at 1,000, experiments, and has still made the light bulb after 1,000 failures. So maybe something like that can be possible in years to come.
Yes, and it has to come, because just think, medicine is improving. Very soon, you'll be able to replace your heart, replace your kidney, replace your knees, replace your God knows everything. And you will start living to 130, 140, 150, God knows where. Okay. Unless and until you feel, I'm fed up, I don't. People will start having more and more kids, or maybe not. But population is increasing.
Yes.
We are wasting more food, we are wasting more water, we are wasting everything we are wasting.
Yes.
The olden days, we could live in 2 rooms, 8, 9 kids, with mother and father used to live with their grandparents. Today, in 3 bedrooms, husband and wife and 1 kid can't live because you're eating on my head and all that. So
things have changed.
Yes, think about future. And you have to do things which are in the right way for the future. It's like, you cannot keep on borrowing money. Otherwise, your family will have to pay the interest of that. So the same way, the earth footprint. And there is a very nice African saying that you have not borrowed this earth from your forefathers, you have borrowed it from your children. So when you leave it in such a way that your kids are not at trouble.
How beautiful. I think this is something we all need to keep in mind, because we need to think about the future, the generation next, not us and what we are to enjoy. We've enjoyed a lot and we are still continuing to enjoy. Here I'm very tempted to ask you one very important question, and that is the question on technology. See, you started from a time where you were drawing with your hand. Even today, I guess you still draw with your hand. I also come from a place where, sketching, drawing, doing things with your hand was so much more fun, creative. But there's no choice now but to sit in front of a computer, work with people who understand computer. Technology has taken over our lives, be it at work, be it at home. How has that technology impacted you in both a positive way and a negative way?
See, technology, you can't say that it is taken over. Technology, I would say that you should make it work like a servant. It is to help you achieve. Technology is not imagining things for you. The most important thing is imagination. Mm-hmm. It is like if you are an accountant, I always say that for an accountant, 2 plus 2 is what? 4. But as an architect, as a creator, 2 plus 2 is not 4. 2 plus 2, I can make it 24.
Wow.
Now, that's where if you have that confidence in you, computer is just a bloody box. And I press it, and in my office, I tell, do this. Yes, if computer can start thinking, now you put on your computer and say, I want to design a 2-bedroom and I want this. This is my problem. My finance is this. My site is this. And I want to do this. Can you imagine, or can you design it for me and come out? And if the computer, can put your finance, then you say, my timeline is so much. I want to do it in so many months. The weather is so much. All of that, the computer can think and do it for you. Then I would say that computer is ruling you. But over here, what God has given you, this computer, it can put all of that. And with a fraction of a second, if I can give you a sketch and I say, Madam, you have to do like this, like this, like this. That is the best computer. Absolutely. You will never be able to compete with God. And what God has given you is the best computer.
Beautifully put. Oh my goodness. Every word that you have said, I'm sure will resonate with so many creative people, because ultimately this is where it all starts. The computer probably just helps you to translate it later on faster, so that things happen quicker at the ground level, at the sites and other things. But beautifully said. Unfortunately, a lot of the young millennials, and I hope they are watching and listening, think that they can do everything at the touch of a button. They've stopped thinking for some way, I feel, because they seem to be always going to the Google University, looking at what was happening. It's almost become like a copy-paste kind of a culture now. The creativity is just depleting, and I really hope more and more people understand that our body, our minds is the biggest computer and the greatest gift to us. So what you have said, I think a lot of us should remember, especially the younger generation, I feel, where they are so much dependent on the touch of a button and everything coming out, that they probably stop thinking, I feel, at some point. Anyway, that's great learning, the way you put it. So tell me, your passions clearly, shows that you're a workaholic. I mean, the amount of work that you put in at your work and everything. We talk about smart cities, we talk about smart buildings. You've done many smart buildings and smart offices. Now we are working at home, so work from home has become the new normal. Smart homes are seeming to be taking precedence now. What is your experience with smart homes?
See, up to the time you have a smart home which is in balance, then I think you're using the technology and you're using the resources in the right manner. I believe that yes, we must do all that, but we must do it in certain proportion. Mm-hmm. Don't do it that, oh, I can do this. Do you need it to be done? Okay. If you need it, do it. I feel that to an extent, yes, security, water supply, fire, all of those are necessary. But then, taking it too much, I think we should not do that.
Okay.
There should be a line.
Okay, absolutely.
Maybe you don't agree, but I feel that that should be, there should be certain balance.
I totally agree with you. Having said that, with my experiences, the kind of homes that I'm designing now, or clients who've called us back to redesign homes, especially after the situation, because what has happened is that there's a very thin line now between office and home. Home has become office, office has become home. So now the requirements are different, where very clearly spaces are required to be identified, where office can be run without any noise. People don't have the luxury in India, particularly, of living in very large houses. There are big families staying in small homes. So certain spaces double up sometimes in the evening for family space, in the day for office space. There we need certain smart gadgets to be able to make life easier. Otherwise, I have felt that, sometimes work from home can be more challenging. Because when you're in office, you're in office, then you work. When you're at home, then you're at home. Now everything's kind of got mixed up. So therefore, creating some smart gadgets to help you with those times when you're actually working much more hours than you would have had it been office and home clearly demarcated, helps with applying some of the smart systems in their homes. And people have actually approached me for wanting to apply these into the homes so that life can get easier for them. So
I fully agree, and yes, a lot of people must have called you, and a lot of people are asking for it. But I have realized one thing, that the amount, the efficiency by which, when you're working at home and when you're working at the office, the efficiency is much, much more. Yes, if you don't have, when we just started, in the first wave, nobody could go out or nobody could do anything, and we started using Zoom, and that was like the Zoom was the savior. But Zoom has got certain today in the office, when you meet, what you can solve across the table is much, much more. How you can do work much faster across the table. So I don't think that the touch of a person, the touch of a personality, the feel, everything counts. And on a Zoom, you're looking at my face, how my body moves, how all of that makes a lot of difference in convincing the person what he wants to say. So I don't think that this is a passing phase. Mm-hmm. And I would say that technology is very, very important. But you should use the technology in the right way. You should not use it in so much that we are just using technology just for the sake of using technology. Okay? And that's the waste. Where we don't need it, we don't use it. Where we need it, you should use it. That's it.
So beautifully said. I think we've had a lovely conversation, and a long conversation at that. I wish we could continue with this, but I guess there is a paucity of time now. But I can tell you it has been so much learning for me, and I'm sure the audience that will listen to this and is listening to this is going to be so much enriched with your ideas, with your thoughts about so many things, be it the slum developments or the dream of having a home for every Indian, and so much more. And I'm really wishing that all of those dreams come true very soon. And I'm sure people like us would love to be participating in whichever way one can for the whole process of nation building that you have talked about. It has really touched a chord here. And let us hope we are able to connect together again and on a platform where we are able to realize these dreams, your dreams, in a joint way. Thank you so very much.
Lipika, it was very nice talking to you, and hope to see you soon. Not with technology, but in
person. See, I'm really looking forward to that. It will be such an honor. It has been such an honor to meet you and talk to you like this. It's not just the national recognition of getting a Padma Bhushan that you have, where the country respects you and salutes you, but I can tell you from every person that has ever met you and interacted with you, they have such high regards for you and your humility, and that is what really touches one when one talks to you. I really hope and look forward to meeting you in person soon. A very big thank you to you from all of us. A big thank you to Havells. They have been very kind to host this platform for us so that more and more people can listen to this wonderful conversation. Your insights have been fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Those were some fabulous thoughts and views shared by Padma Bhushan architect Hafeez Contractor. His views need to be pondered on, ideas that can be followed, and attitudes to be imbibed. This program is not over yet. Here is an interesting segment for all of you to win fabulous prizes, only if you can answer the questions after seeing this short clip by Havells on smart homes. Do fill up the form with these 3 simple questions and send it across.
The world is getting smarter every day. In the coming years, every object and device will be connected, and we will be part of a connected ecosystem where automation will play the lead role. We at Crabtree are designing a smart and energy-efficient future for you. We are making your office spaces feel global while you own controls to every piece in the picture. From a simple light controlling system to a smarter occupancy-based and sensor-based lighting, to daylight harvesting and time scheduling. We are making your office spaces smarter every day. We also understand that in order to make things functional, we need to make them intelligent. Hence, we have designed multiple modes of lighting based on your requirements while making it easy to implement with just a few clicks. The Crabtree Office Automation also provides end-to-end HVAC controls. It can control all types of ACs, be it VRV, chiller, cassette, split or window. Monitor and control air quality inside your premise with exclusive zone temperature controls as well. We also know the value of safety in smart. And make sure your office spaces have high levels of automated security control with IP CCTV feed, distress detection and alarm systems. We are also putting in efforts to make your office places feel livelier with automated curtain control and projection screen control in the meeting rooms. And while we do all this, we are making sure that the joy of the office space remains intact. At Crabtree, we are adding a touch of intelligence amongst our various offerings so that they work on a single command and get you going with just a click.
You've been a splendid audience. This program is possible thanks to Havells, who have created this platform to capture and celebrate the lives of pioneers of the smart world in which we all live today. Till next time, for yet another episode on the Pioneers of the Smart World with Lipika Sud. Goodbye and love you all.